And welcome to the Barrel Buddies. I'm James.
And I'm BJ. Welcome back to your weekly booze, news, and reviews. And I'm back.
I was gonna say you're back. Welcome back. Welcome
Thank
back,
you.
Beej.
Thanks for running things while I was away and
It's
keeping
been a
things
couple
moving.
weeks.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely. It's been
Sorry I wasn't here to help.
No, not at all. You got life,
It's been
vacation,
it was
friends,
two
family.
two hardcore core weeks of fun travel.
Yeah.
I was up in the Great White North of Canada.
Very nice.
Our great white neighbors to the north.
What you said it was New England area, north?
Yeah,
Like where?
started off in Boston.
Okay.
And then hopped a little cruise ship and hit up Bar Harbor, Maine,
Okay.
Halifax, Nova Scotia, Sydney,
Ooh.
Nova Scotia,
Okay.
Prince Edward Island, which was just mind-blowingly amazing. That if you said, what was your favorite spot? Prince Edward Island. That was the greatest spot.
Okay. And
then we took a little time at sea, and then ended up in Quebec City, Canada.
Oh, very
Quebec
nice.
City, Quebec, which was like going to France. It was a very European city.
Mhm.
Everybody, les-vous français. Everybody, parlez-vous the français.
But it was pretty easy though. You were speaking English though, even you were there.
So everybody starts with French, and as they do in Rome, you definitely have to. Pardonnez-moi, le-vous anglais? And then
Yeah.
everyone goes, "Yeah, I speak English." You go, "Oh, thank God."
Oh, thank you.
There was only a couple of people that was like, "Oh, un
Poquito.
un pequeño, un pequeño English."
Went to Mexico or Canada.
No, they were like, un poquois, and or whatever you say in French. I'm not
mutilating
I
it
don't
as we
speak
normally
Spanish.
do.
But there was only a couple people who were like, "Oh, I only speak a little English," but they said it obviously in French, and I was like, "Uh-oh, okay." But you know what? We did a good job communicating. Nothing like a glass of red and a little bourbon and good times, and you got a good story.
Yeah. Very cool. That's very cool. And then
Yeah.
and you were gone. That was almost 2 weeks.
It was
That was almost 2
2 weeks. It was
weeks.
a full 2 weeks that I
Mhm.
was gone. Got back last Friday, and
All right.
yeah, now back in the saddle. Back, I'm off of East Coast time. That the jet lag was real on this trip because 2 weeks on East Coast time really did
Oh,
it
I'm
to me.
sure you get
Yeah,
that 3-hour time difference. It's gonna take some time to settle back in. I would
yeah,
always
it took
get
me all
that.
weekend.
Yeah, when I was back and forth from Boston, um, I would get that on those long trips, like those 3-week trips.
Oh,
You're like, you
I'm
come back to
sure
Vegas and like you just can't get back onto the time.
it was rough and tough.
Waking up super early, going to
Mhm.
bed super early. It's like
Yep.
it just messes with you. And then your eating schedule's all
Oh
off. You're like
yeah,
hungry at weird times during the day. Even though it's 3-4 hours, it's still
it
yeah.
messes with you.
So
Well, and I did have a couple of really great days in Boston, even before taking off. If you followed us on our Insta at the Barrel Buds, then you would have seen some great stops when we went to the original Sam Adams Brewery there in Jamaica Plain, and the Trillium there at Fort Point.
very
Lovely
cool.
spots,
Very
and
cool.
had some good imbibations.
Well, while you were gone, let's talk a little bit about while
Yeah.
you were gone. We had the man, the myth, the legend,
Oh, I saw.
Mr. Zach joined us
He's
2
gonna
weeks ago,
he's gonna give me a complex that he only wants to come around when I'm not here.
and we had a great show, and we reviewed a wonderful Stag Junior batch. I think it was
Ooh.
batch 15. You might have to like check that one. But anyways, we reviewed one of the Stag Junior batches. He loved it. I loved it. Super punchy and hot and crazy.
Just the way
You know how
guys like it.
those stags are. And then last week, Jimmy did a solo show, just because I was just scrambling to be
Sorry.
full. Here's the thing: I almost canceled it, and then I was like, I'll just do it on my own. And I probably flubbed through that one by myself. I've never done a solo show. We've never even talked about doing a solo show, so I really just kind of had to wing it. I thought I did pretty well. I'm sure the feedback will be mixed reviews, but I figured, if I'm going to have a show by myself, I might as well review one of the bottles that are near and dear to my heart.
Which
And I
was?
reviewed the E.H. Taylor Barrel Proof, which I rated. I pretty much gave it a 90, like it was a 99 or a 99 out of 100.
Near perfect score.
A near perfect score, in a nutshell, where it's like I think I put it best when I said, if you just want to define a good bourbon whiskey, this bottle is a great reference point.
Very nice.
And I like, there's just something about it that you're just like, this is what bourbon whiskey, whatever. This is what whiskey's all about. Really, I want to get to the chats because the chat's blowing up here.
Oh, good.
Sub
Hi,
1K,
everybody.
how you doing? Love you, man. Good to see you. Uncle P, good to see you as well. He says, welcome back, BJ.
Yo, yo, yo. Hey, Uncle P.
And then Sub 1K says, thanks for the chocolate chip cookies.
Ooh, did you like it? Was it good?
And Uncle P said I did great. So thank you for the feedback. I appreciate that. I need the positive reinforcement. So when we do another solo show, it'll go a lot smoother. But I felt a lot more confident doing it since I picked the barrel proof. I didn't want to pick something that I didn't like. I wanted to pick just something that was really good. And
That's a good pick.
I wish I could. The barrel proof, the E.H. Taylor barrel proof was more easily accessible. That's the only thing I want to say about that. I mean, it's so good. And as you guys all know me, if you've been watching the show for a while, I reserve my high scores. I use them very infrequently. I don't really rate high scoring bottles or have high ratings of a lot of bottles, but E.H. Taylor barrel proof, I think the E.H. Taylor line itself is just incredible. Really, really good. So tonight, little that's our drum roll, whatever. Smoke Wagon, guys. Smoke Wagon rye smoke.
A nice local offering.
A local offering by our wonderful friends over at Smoke Wagon.
You know, I feel like such a tool saying that too, because people love to get Smoke Wagon. It's very, this is a very hypey, coveted.
Oh, it's super hypey. It actually had more hype. I think the hypes were over the hype train with Smoke Wagon, but that's a good thing because now you can find the bottles, right?
But it's just it's like such a dick move to be like, oh, it's just a little local offering.
No, it's not. It's a huge it's like huge, a big deal. Like everybody, I think anybody that's in the whiskey, bourbon, alcoholic community, if you're like into it even a little bit, I think you would know the Smoke Wagon name.
Yeah,
you probably follow or know of Aaron, the distiller, blender, master himself of Smoke Wagon. And, the cowboy hat, and he's got his amazing Instagram. He's got his awesome Instagram where he's just living his life. You always see him in his pool, smoking a cigar, drinking, Smoke Wagon. And it's always awesome to see him. Such a great personality that he kind of exudes on his socials. And you can tell that he's really passionate about what he does. And we love that it's local in Vegas. You think, wow, they can put a distillery in Vegas. He made it happen. And I mean, he's created a insanely well-known whiskey and
coveted.
Yeah. Even. I mean, all the way from those crazy rare bottles. If you guys seen his, he has all those, the bottles with the medallions on the front, like the super rare releases that he does. Then he does all the private barrels. He did Desert Jewel, which everybody is like one of his unicorns that are out there.
Woo Chili.
Yeah. Some of the private barrels, like Woo Chili. There's some insane. There was like a crazy Naz bottle that caused a bunch of drama with that cellar in California, where like there were shenanigans with that years ago, and people know about that. Like, there's so many stories around the Smoke Wagon name that it's just created this like mystery and reputation and well-known name. And it's really seems like he's been expanding out into like different areas, different segments. So he sources MGP juice that he gets for his blending. And tonight we have the rye offering. And then Sub 1K says, terrific cork pop, by the way. When you open that.
Thanks. It came out really well. Thank you. So I gave myself a little stir, and thanks for going through that. I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit so you can start getting the nose into that.
Yeah.
So this is a really incredible offering.
I wanted you to read, the deets.
This is the brand new Smoke Wagon Desert. Good God!
Wow, I can tell
I've been on vacation, everybody.
Vacation for 2 weeks.
This is the Smoke Wagon Blenders Select Straight Rye Whiskey, coming in at 58.96%. This is a newer offering. They only started putting this out in May of this year. This particular bottle is batch number 2C, and it was bottled on June 3rd, 2023. That was my wedding anniversary this year.
Oh, wow.
So wedding bottle.
So it's sourced MGP. It is there is not an age statement on this, but my assumption, well, actually, I won't make a year assumption until we taste it. But we do know that the mash bill is a blend of the 51% rye,
Mhm.
45% corn, 4 barley, and the 51 rye, 49 malted barley. So this is a
So
blend of
yeah,
the two.
so you're
I
getting some
love
good
malted
barley.
barley. I know it's a kind of a polarizing
I don't always love it.
grain
I don't always
because
love it.
I don't always love it either, but well, that's kind of contradictory. I love it in most instances. There's somewhere it's either amazing and there's somewhere it's like, whoa, they should have used malted
Yeah,
barley in this
I
one.
I don't always love
So,
it when you're making rye whiskeys or bourbons.
mm,
I obviously I love malted barley when we're making scotch, right?
yeah.
When you're going for a single malt malted barley scotch, delightful. But it does have that grain specifically, I think, has a particular flavor profile that I'm not looking for when I'm looking for a more corn forward spirit or even a more rye or wheat forward spirit, such as again bourbon or a bourbon rye whiskey. Um, but I'm pretty excited. Obviously, Aaron knows what he's doing. The man is a wild. He's a wild man, and so I'm really excited to get into this. He didn't post a lot about this particular batch.
Yeah, we looked
About
back on the
this,
Instagrams and I think he may have done some shorts on it, but they
they
just go
fall
through
away.
and they fall away. Yeah. So
So we got to get back to some basics, and so we'll talk a little bit about some basic nosings. And I went to several bourbon tastings, whiskey tastings while I was on vacay, and I learned a trick that I wanted to share with you and
Oh,
with everybody else that I think it might change up the way you're nosing your spirits.
okay.
And you guys, if you're drinking along with us tonight, obviously leave it in the comments or the chat.
Yeah, let us know what you guys are
Um,
drinking tonight with
of
us.
course, drink responsibly. And then I want to teach you this trick.
Really quick before you get into the trick, I noticed that um there's a lot of like social media reviewers such as us that are
Sure.
on social media.
Yeah.
There's people that do reviews of different type of booze and beverage, et
Mhm.
cetera, et cetera. And I see on their page it's like you must be 21 or older to follow. I'm like, really?
That's not us.
And like, no, but it's like, what? Like, that's not a law. And like, another thing is, and a lot of them are always like, drink responsibly. Like, is that just them being like a good human and saying that,
Yeah,
or do
yeah,
they
it
assume
probably
that there's some
is.
type of laws around this? But I'm like,
It's
every time I see that, I just kind of like shake my head. I'm like, that's dumb. Like,
it's
okay.
probably in concordance with some sort of like contract they've got with a vendor partner,
Oh, that
right?
could be it. Where they're like, kind of like, hey, if you want us to
If you want us to
back you
kick you some chill here,
or bottles, you need to
you need to be
follow these
saying some
rules.
rules.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
I say those because I like to be a good human.
Sure, yeah, and that's what I'm along the same lines. Of course, we want to drink responsibly. We always say
Whether you're
that, but
21 or not, you should be drinking responsibly.
yeah, but like people are drinking. I mean, overseas, what 18 in some countries.
Listen, I don't encourage you to
So
buy this bottle and start putting it in a funnel in your butthole. You shouldn't be bud chugging rye whiskey, especially this rye whiskey. You should be responsible and enjoy it in a nice
that
neat
frat house,
glass.
the butt chuckers frat house. We ever talk? I don't think we've ever talked about that story.
No,
There's
let's
a lot
not.
of people.
Let's
One of
not.
these days when we do a big news cycle, it's not
Oh,
tonight,
yeah.
but we're gonna resurrect some really old stories,
Yeah.
and that one or that
It's a good
fraternity.
one.
Because here's the crazy thing: there's a press statement where their lawyer is talking, who represents the fraternity, and he's like, in like his lawyer voice, he's like, "These young youths behind me did not participate in the act of butt chugging," and you're just like, how did he see that? And everybody has stone cold
Everyone's
faces.
stoic.
I don't know how all these kids didn't start cracking
He's
up
like,
the second he said that.
They did not participate in the butt chug. And the butt chug.
They have never heard of the butt chug. They do not know what the butt chug is, and none of these fine, upstanding gentlemen behind me would participate in anything to do with butt chugging.
We
And
do not advocate for the butt chug.
They had to have. I'm sure they had to have practiced that.
Oh yeah,
like 100 times.
And then
because
they went.
It was a bunch of like frat kids.
And then they left, and they immediately
Oh
performed.
yeah, they got in
the butt
trouble.
chug.
They got in trouble because they did it again. Sub 1K said he participated in the butt chug.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, there's some crazy frat rituals, and if that's one of them, that just kind of the veil gets lifted when you hear
I,
about weird
I'm just gonna say I
rituals. You're
was in
like,
Greek
what?
society.
Yeah,
I've seen my share of interesting things.
crazy hazing.
Um,
Anyway,
so
we
so
digress.
let's talk about nosing. Now that we've talked a lot about butts, let's talk about noses.
So random.
Let's talk about
Uh,
nosing your whiskey
okay,
and the olfactory. We haven't talked about olfactory senses
we
lately.
haven't. We
We haven't
haven't.
gone,
Left and
nosing
right.
left
We
and
haven't
right.
talked about it. Yeah. So
So
please take it away.
so just want to talk a little bit about nosing your whiskey,
Hmm.
nosing your spirit, right? You want to get your nose in there, right? You want to go right to left, left to right.
Yeah.
You want to take it all in, but you don't want to like inhale it, because inhaling it, you're going to overwhelm your senses. You're going to burn something out. You're going to go, oh, I don't like that. This is an experience like smelling flowers. Okay.
Okay.
So again, you're right to left, left to right. You're going to take a little oxygen in. You don't want to be afraid to get down to your glass, and you kind of want to keep your mouth open so you can also take a little
I'm
oxygen
gonna
in,
turn that fan
because
off.
this is like tasting. This is part of the tasting experience. All your senses up here are all connected. Okay. So see what you can smell. And if you're not getting a lot on your spirit or on your beverage, then I want to teach you this good little trick. I actually learned it during a wine tasting, and I found that it actually worked on several other spirit tastings I did, which was really, really smart. If you're not finding that you're getting what you want out of nosing your spirit, and you're like,
Yep.
man, I'm just not getting what I want. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to take the palm of one of your hands, whatever your dominant or non-dominant, whatever you feel comfortable with. I want you to take the palm of your hand. I want you to cover the top of your glass,
Okay.
and I want you to leave some room so that you can quickly blow in some hot air. And I want you to blow some hot air into your glass,
Like breathe into it.
like you're gonna shine your glasses, like you want
Okay.
to
Yeah,
like
I'm
huff
getting a little
into it,
condensation.
right?
Okay. Yeah.
And now swirl your glass. Give it like 8 to 10 good swirls to really move that
Okay.
around.
All right.
Now relieve it and take the nose.
Wow, that's a lot more enhanced. Like it really
It really should bring out
punches.
the nose, and it should allow you to take in some more of those
Wow,
aromas.
definitely.
And so if you're having a hard time with the nose and you're like, man, I'm just not getting what it was, that's a really good trick to bring those aromas forward. Um, on this, I'm getting a lot of good red apple. Like, the shot, the Washington red apple?
Absolutely red apple. I was going to say
The
that, but
Washington red apple shot
I'm
I'm smelling that.
I'm getting that, but I'm also getting wow, I'm getting almost like maple, like a little
It's very
maple
fall timey, yeah.
and but then spearmint, like a very bright kind of spearmint.
I was wondering if it was spearmint or like grass. I'm getting that freshy
Yeah,
fresh
like a
rye.
fresh floral, fresh.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
think about rye. Gamers, how's it going? Says hi, BJ. Gamers for life.
Hey, what up, gamers for life?
But yeah, you're getting like a wow, that's a very interesting rye because I don't know how I feel about that spearmint kind of sweet maple syrupy apple nose. It's a
Feels like
little
fall time, baby.
contradictory. It is fall time, but I'm just not used to that combination. But we'll see how it translates to the taste here. Let's jump in.
Whoa, okay. The spearmint is
Whoa.
big.
Whoa.
So I wasn't getting a lot of spearmint, but as soon as I put it on my palate, that first sip. How many sips do we take, Jimmy?
We have the 3-sip rule.
That's right.
So as we talk to you, we've
1,
told
2, and
this
3.
many a times. The first sip is that shock to the palate, shock to the senses. You need to ease your way into it before you pass judgment. So we've had our first sip. You're kind of like you're taking it all in. You're kind of analyzing. You're picking out a few little subtle notes of what you're tasting, and now we're going to get into it again on that second.
And I'm gonna just before we get too much into that second, here's why. That first initial shock to the palate, I was like, "Whoa, my god!"
Mhm.
And as it has settled down, as I've started to enjoy the tasting, I found that at first I was like, "Oh, I don't know, I like that." It was a lot. It was a blast of a lot of flavors. But as it started to settle and finish, I found that I was really starting to enjoy what was opening up. I'm excited for my second sip here.
Said it's Cole. This is Cole. Gamers is Cole. How you doing, Cole? We're gonna say hi to you, bud. Getting some acknowledgement on the show.
Hey, what's up, Cole? Speaking of a show that's for 21-year-olds,
No comment.
no comment, but I would just say Cole is not 21.
3 times 3. 3 to 4. Divide that by 3 to 4. Get his age.
No, he's older than 7.
Anyway,
He's a family member, by the way, just so
it's
that's
family,
clear
right?
on
Make that very clear.
Family, we love you, Cole, and we love you, Chase and C3 for anybody else that's
Whole
watching with
crew.
you there, bud.
So getting into the second taste. Wow.
Much
This
easier.
reminds me, I just want to throw this out there. Think of the old Carter rye.
I think it's harsher than the old Carter rye,
It is not. I'd say it's different. I don't want to say harsher.
but I would say as complex as, yes.
Yes, the complexity is definitely there.
This is very complex. I know this is the neck bore, and we should talk about what the neck bore is. I think we mentioned that a lot, but we don't talk about what it is.
Woo.
This is complex and
Have you had that second sip yet? I wasn't paying
I
attention.
have. I
Okay.
did do my second sip, and I would just tell you that the mentholyptus,
Yes.
like I would want to drink this ill.
Yeah, I'm with you.
It's almost a little Hall's cough drop-ish.
Yeah, and grassy green apple. Yeah, I'm kind of getting all of that. It's definitely your typical rye. I'm getting some faint dill. I know that's kind of like out there, but I'm
it's
getting
not
some
that.
dill.
It's not. Yeah, it's got that herbaceous quality.
Yeah,
dill.
like that's the thing that you guys need to realize. Like rye usually equals herbaceous, as Beach put it. You'll get a lot of like herbs. Think of like Wrigley's gum, right? Like that spearmint gum.
does taste like that.
You get that. I get that in this, where I'm like, ooh, I really want to compare this to a stick of Wrigley's. Like it's very like present when you taste it. It's very. I also get like an oiliness on the mouthfeel. Like it's like a.
Yeah,
I don't want to say it's smooth, but you know, it's got a.
it's full-bodied.
It's got a full body, almost like it's. You want to chew it. Like it's got like a. It's got some depth to it. It really just has
Okay, so
viscous.
Wow.
Yeah.
yeah,
Incredible legs too.
I was
it's
just gonna
really
say-
just drooling down the side of this glass here.
I'm gonna say one thing, and I'm
Yeah.
curious how you feel about it.
Yeah.
Amaro,
Oh yeah. I can see that absolutely. So that's a great reference,
right? This
Yeah.
drinks a lot like an Amaro because the
does.
herbal and the spearminty flavors, they're really big. That thick, full body, that viscosity that we're talking about.
Yeah.
This drinks more like a cordial spirit than I think it
Do-
does as a rye whiskey.
When you said Amaro, do you know what I almost want to do now? Is put this on a rock. Some rocks.
I'm with you. I actually think it would benefit.
Yeah, I think it would too.
I think it would benefit from a little ice.
like that's how I like my Amaro is I don't like it on the rocks. I like it chilled. That's just, and I know everyone has their own way of drinking things, but whenever I do like chartreuse or Amaros or any type of like aperitif, aperitivo, however you want to call it, I always like those chilled. I don't like them watered down. I know some people are like, no, you got to water it down. That's the way to do it. And I'm just like, eh. But with those, I think when they're herbaceous and they have that like herbal taste and element to it, that when they're cold, I just think it brings all of that through more, especially like that mintiness. You get that mint that comes through. I personally feel when it's cold. A lot of people disagree. They're like, oh, well, cold mutes a lot of the notes and the flavor and the taste. Okay, so let's try it both ways. And again, at the end of the day, when I tell everybody, don't get upset about how people review things, because again, this is a food product and everybody has different tastes and everybody has different taste buds and experiences. So it's going to be different across the board for everyone. And thank you very much for going to get the ice as I chatted everyone away here.
No, I appreciate you chatting them up. I went with a different style of ice. Normally I'd go with cube, but I did crushed.
All right.
Oh
wow, you got the nice glasses too. Yeah,
I just went for a glass, man. I just went for a glass. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah, because I wanted, rocks. I wanted rocks, not giant cubes.
Yeah.
So we'll start with a few rocks. Listen, the thing that you got to remember, right? In anything you do, as he just said, it's a food product.
Yeah.
And so for any of you that are in the kitchen, any of you that have experience baking or cooking or anything like that, what do you always need to remember? You can always add more, but you cannot take
Take
away.
away.
And so the
Exactly.
same
Same
goes
goes
with
with ice.
ice. You can always add more, but you
Yeah,
can't take away. And so if you add
it's
too much
true.
ice and you water it down and you get rid of this, you can't take that away, and then you've lost your product. So
Cheers on that
while
one.
we cheers into this a little bit, let's talk about the neck bore. We talk about neck pour. You might have heard neck pour. What does that mean? Does it mean anything? We're literally talking about pouring out the neck of the bottle, and it may have something, it may not. I think in our heads, we think that the neck pour, um, it opens up the bottle a little bit, gives room for the spirit to breathe and oxidize a little bit, and allow the spirit to open up. Um, you'll read some other things that people say, no, that's not true. It doesn't happen. But I would say for those of us who have experienced bottles behind us, I would tell you the neck pour is a thing. It's a real thing.
It
How do you
is,
feel about the
and
neck pour?
well, with neck pour too, there to your point, like some people say it's a thing, some people don't really say it's a thing. They think it's just kind of BS. Um, by the way, I think this is what it needed. It needed to be on the rocks. This is
Oh
totally, yeah,
my God. It
yeah,
tastes like maple syrup.
yes. It's completely changed. Is
Oh
I didn't want
my
to react too
God.
heavily. I wanted you to get into it before I wanted to have that
It
same
tastes like
reaction.
maple syrup and butter.
Yep. So basically, if you look at the neck pour, right, and what we mean by neck pour is the top. If you look at that very narrow band, especially on these smoke wagon bottles, it has quite that very, very thin, narrow neck there. And they're saying that while there's obviously evaporation of alcohol, that when you go down in the bottle and you have more space for that oxygen and surface area available as you go down into the bottle, that it supposedly is changing the evaporation and it's changing the oxidation of the product that you're drinking. And it's supposed to, with some of that evaporation, you're getting alcohol. The first thing that evaporates is that ethanol, right? Those
Oh,
ethanol
100%. Yeah.
components are evaporating. And then people claim that it gets less hotter and more smoother. I know people hate to hear smooth.
You know, I'm done with that.
When
I'm done with that. Hi, we're the Barrel Buddies, and we're going to talk to you about smooth spirits.
yeah,
We're,
I don't know why that's a thing. Now people are like, oh,
it
it's
shouldn't
smooth
be.
because everybody just
I'm
says
going to tell
everything's
you,
smooth. It's like when people said beer doesn't have a good mouthfeel, right? Like that was the thing where all the brewers were
beer.
like, how
No,
dare they say it doesn't have a good mouthfeel?
beer should have a good mouthfeel. I've had shitty beer mouthfeels where it's
Yes,
thin
it's a
and you want to
thing.
spit it out. You're
It's a
like,
thing. It's
if
a
I wanted to
thing.
drink water, I would have gone to the tap.
Yeah, exactly.
The water tap. Wow.
Exactly.
Okay.
Get into this.
Can we talk about this?
Yeah.
We got to talk about this. So we don't advocate a lot on this show for adding rocks or water. I think we drink a lot of ours straight up, neat, no rocks,
Green apple bomb and maple syrup.
maple syrup,
Green apple.
caramel, butter. Oh my God, the
Yeah.
butter.
Jeez.
The flavor of melted, salty
One
butter.
thing I want to tell people though, they need to remember this is still a rye. This is not like a buttery rich brown sugar maple. Well, it's maple, but
It
not like
is.
it's not like when you taste this, don't think of like you're tasting a sweet bourbon. You got to remember this is a rye. So it has that back. You got to think of like that Wrigley's gum.
It does. In the back end,
Like
right at the
it's
top of
still
the palate.
there. Right.
But
Patrick Curry, how's it going, bud? Good to
up
see
here
you.
in the front of the palate,
Yeah.
what up, Patrick? This is butter, brown sugar, sweet maple. This is incredible. And this ice, this little water, this little cool down
Yeah.
has taken it from a chili spearmint cordial to a highly enjoyable rye whiskey. Holy cow.
This is solid. So
This is incredibly good.
with and it's actually kind of tough to find information on this. I was trying to find out like is it still being released?
Wow.
Blender Select Rye. I mean, there's different batches out there. So let's get into like
Yeah, how'd you get this? And what's the
Yeah,
price point?
so I just scooped this up. So it was on the shelf. I found this on the shelf. The price point is $80 total wine.
Not
It's
bad.
out there,
That's
right? So you can
nice.
get this. It's $80.
That's good.
Um, it's I really don't know what else to say about it. Like I'm trying to find more information about it, and even like on Smoke Wagon's website, I don't see
Well, that's
much
perfect
info
for us.
on it.
So
Yeah,
we'll make sure to tag the hell out of this so that
yeah,
people
we'll
looking for
tag,
information can
yeah,
find it.
tag Smoke Wagon, tag some other people, and hopefully we can get some more info
Don't forget to
ourselves.
share it. Share us out there.
Yeah, but there's really not a lot of info on the internet about it, except like people selling it,
Here you
and
go.
like there's some randos
Let us be
reviewing
your
it,
info.
but don't
We're not
really.
randos. We're the Barrel Buddies.
Yeah, exactly.
This is so wow. $80. Smoke Wagon product. So little local product. Not big deal. That's got, I think, a very herbaceous, mentholyptus, not at all unenjoyable flavor straight up. Seeing that picture that you just showed of them making mint juleps with this, I think that this would have been a great mint julep. I think it's also an excellent little kicker to
Mhm.
like a boozy hot chocolate. I think you could throw this into a boozy hot chocolate and it'd
Yeah.
be pretty tasty. But I would just, now knowing this, I'd say throw this in the freezer and keep it cold, or add a couple of rocks to it, and this becomes just sweet, delightful, smooth. It's easy to say it's smooth. It's easy on the palate. It is full bodied. I think oily is an excellent term that you threw out there.
Oily.
That's what we talk about when we talk about full bodied, right? It coats the mouth and it has a coating that lasts through what I think is a pretty medium to long finish. I'm going to just jump into the scores and say,
One second though. One
Oh.
second, really quick. Pardon. I
Oh,
found it on their website. So on
okay.
Smoke Wagon, it's nevadadistilling.com. Aaron, if you do end up watching this, which I'm sure you won't, you need to work on your search optimization engine. You're searching, like when you type in Smoke
coming from
Wagon
IT guys.
search, you should be able to Smoke Wagon Nevada Distilling should pop up first, and it doesn't. So you gotta work on that to get that optimized. Hit us up. So here we go. I just want to read what it says on here. So after doing some digging, it says we selected barrels of this sweet, delicate 51 rye, 45 corn, 4 barley, and they blended it with the big bold 51 rye, 49 malted barley. And then the end result is an upfront flavor profile that's beautifully sweet and rich with a luxurious mouthfeel. Yes, it is. The finish has just enough cinnamon and rye spice to get your tongue tingling,
tingling.
while the flavors from the malted barley, such as smoke and malt, are still present but softer and more subtle. Absolutely, and I would almost say that attributes, like, I get a little bit of a Scotch. I get like a Scotch vibe off this a little bit.
That's the barley,
right?
right? That's the barley.
Yeah.
And they talk about that tingle, and I would just say that upon the first taste, I was going to say it kind of dances on the top of your tongue. It is very tingly.
War
Almost
Clan,
like
what's up, man?
Clove. Almost like clove.
Yeah, IT guys.
I wouldn't
thanks,
say
bud. See, he's vouching for us.
cinnamon.
It's like IT guys on spot. sorry. I'm talking to the chat, and I know you're rattling on.
No. It's all good.
Yeah.
And so I got like a clove like dancing on the tongue, where almost it was like a numbing sensation.
Yeah.
That you would get if you had too much
clove.
Right?
I like that. Absolutely.
It's that clovey flavor profile.
And again, guys, you got to remember, like, your palate and your taste buds, like you're always evolving, always learning. Your brain uses frame of references of something you've already had. You're not going to know right off the bat, like, oh, this is Norwegian cocoa nibs. Like, come on, like, no, you won't be able to reference that, and your brain won't remember it until you've had it before. But we're able to draw these associations, and I think this tastes so much better chilled.
100%.
But please jump into your scores. I know I cut you off there, so get into it. What do you got?
I'm going to go pretty quick on that.
Yeah.
I think the nose is a 1. I found it really difficult to get into anything on the nose, but there's some nice green apple, red apple. I said it smelled like,
it's not complex, which is
like
fine.
a Washington red apple.
Yeah.
The shot. Which is really nice. Fall time flavors is what you're getting on the fall time aromas, I guess, is what you're getting on the nose. But it's not a lot, so I'm going to give that a 1.
Okay.
Very complex, not in a bad way.
Yep.
I do find this to be a step up whiskey.
Mhm.
So for people who are not whiskey enthusiasts, or people who are not accustomed to drinking a lot of complex or just whiskey in general, I think they're going to have a hard time with this. Not because,
I agree 100%.
Not because it's bad.
It's a little
not
polarizing.
Bad. It's really good, but I think they're going to have a hard time with it because they're not going to have a frame of reference.
That too. Like this is a rye. This is a true rye. Like I said, the old Carter rye. Like there's some ryes where it's like, this is even in a different category from like the Jack Daniel's rye, and
Oh,
like,
this is different.
yeah,
For being MGP rye, right? This is
yes,
very
exactly,
different.
exactly.
But I'm gonna throw that into the 3 category, and I'm also gonna give it a 3 for the price at $80. I
$80.
mean,
I'm with you.
$80. Yeah, this is super hypey. This is going to be good trade bait. It's going to be great to throw on your shelf. I think it's a beautiful bottle. I think that what
I love their
Aaron and what
bottles. I
they've
love
done
those bottles.
with
Yeah,
all of the green and white and
the
gold
etching.
labeling.
I like the glass. I guess it's not
Yeah,
etching, but it's like the
no,
design, or what
it's
is that? Yeah.
fabulous. It's fabulous. So this is going to lead right into a category where I think I'm going to probably give it an 81 out of 100. I'd probably give it like an 8.1 out of 10. I dig this, and I would probably wouldn't have gone that high without the ice. But as soon as you throw the ice on it, blown away bonus has to come into play because I am blown
Oh,
away at how much
okay.
better it gets,
All right.
which is not usually something we do on this show. So cheers to 8.1.
8.1 or an 81 out of 100. I think
Yeah.
that's a really solid score from you. So, getting into my score, as you all know, we have 3-tier system. We do nose, taste, and value, or the three categories that we rate our beverages out of. And on the nose, I'm giving it a 2. And I'm going to say that because I think I have a little bit more of a preference towards those ryes.
Sure.
I've been touting and carrying around old Carter rye bottles for a long time, and
Yep.
and a lot of people haven't experienced them. And I'm like, guys, this is not your like donut whiskey. This is like a rye Wrigley spearmint. This is gonna throw you for a loop, and it
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
does. A lot of people, like, they think rye, they think of rye bread, right? Like, that's kind of like that
Yeah.
assumption
Like a
off
cracked rye.
like a
Yeah.
cracked rye, and like they always think they're like, ooh, this gonna taste like a rye bread.
He's burnt.
No, it doesn't.
Gotta be
But you get a lot of that like
spicy.
dilly floral, spearminty, minty type of elements with a little bit of like smoky sweet oak and green apple, and I like it, and I'm going to give the nose a 2. I think it
Okay.
has a 2 to me because I prefer.
I like it.
It's just my personal preference on the nose.
Okay.
For the taste, I was about to give it a 2, but when you put the ice in it, it gets a 3. I think for the taste, this gets a 3. It gets it. I was going to give it a 2 if we didn't put this on rocks, but since I had it on ice, oh boy, like this
So
is
good.
like, take me out to the pool and just pour me this on the rocks, and I'm high on the hog right there.
I mean, can you? I'm already thinking like I don't mean to just interject in the middle of your score, but
No. It's fine.
I'm already thinking holidays. I'm in holiday mode now.
Oh, it's definitely holiday
Right?
mode.
It's
Mid-October
It's
almost.
Halloween time.
Yeah,
and that just means Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas.
this is the perfect
And
bottle for that.
This is a holiday bottle.
It
This
definitely
is a
holiday
bottle
bottle, fall time bottle.
that's going to have to sit out, and every time we come over,
Yes,
this is going to have to be like, you know what? I'm in the mood for a little holiday
Yeah.
pour, and that's to me is
It's
just
a holiday
It's
pour.
reading holiday pour.
This definitely needs to be marketed as a holiday pour for sure.
It's a holiday pour.
Totally agree with you. I think it
Little
hits all
spicy.
checks all those
It's good.
boxes. Yep. So, giving it a 3 on the taste, I give it a 2 on the nose. And then for value at $80, like this sells for like $79.99. Thank you,
Ridiculous.
Aaron at Smoke Wagon for keeping these
Ridiculous.
prices affordable. I think all of your products have always had a great price point. So
Now there's
thank
an
you much for
NDP.
that.
There's an NDP that knows what's going on.
Thank you. Yeah, he's not jumping the shark with like
Thank
these
you.
idiots with like Amberana and all these other NDPs out there that are
Ambu.
like that are trying to like sell a 2 to 4 year MGP juice at like
Correct.
$150 because they did some like faux aging in their like garage with it. Like, come on, like, and they've already like look at it. All this stuff nowadays since the bourbon hype train is over the hump. Like the ship has sailed. We've jumped the shark, as they say. Fonzie went right over that shark on the motorcycle. Like, bourbon is thankfully on the decline. You see it in the groups, people unloading tons of their collection right now. Prices are dropping like a brick.
It's good.
Distilleries,
Good for us.
thankfully, yeah, and thankfully distilleries have, they knew this production was ramping up 5, 6, 7 years ago. So you're starting to see that now with your releases. You're
Yeah.
seeing more Wellers out there, more Blantons out there.
Thank God.
More of your base products are all available.
When people started talking about Weller Special Reserve, a $29.99 bottle, being highly collectible, being $100 kicker, I was like, guys, no,
Yeah.
it's Weller SR.
Exactly. And what distilleries are going to find is like they've tried to ride the hype train and they've been jacking up prices. All these guys across the board, like it's like the new Dickel 19, excuse me, the new Dickel 17 that just released is like a trying to pass off as a $269 MSRP bottle. When they sell the 15 for $60 single barrel, like come on,
Hey, man,
Dickel, come on, Dickel.
Those 4 years make all the difference, guys. Those
2 years. It's 15-year and the 17-year. It's a 2-year difference.
19.
No, it's
those
17.
Those 2 years make all the difference.
I mean, you can't. So, and again, I think consumers, we've been doing a good job of speaking with our pocketbooks and wallets, and that stuff's sitting on the shelves. All that NDP crap sitting on the shelf. All these people trying to start distilleries. All that junk is sitting on the shelves. Shops are trying to like bundle it to even get, they're trying to get rid of it because this is like they're done with it, and people don't want to pay $150 anymore for this NDP junk. However, back to the point, case in hand. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Aaron, at Smoke Wagon for keeping reasonable prices throughout the entire time. None of your bottles have been overpriced whatsoever in any form or fashion. You've kept them incredibly reasonable for the consumer. So thank you for that. Sub 1K did want to correct me, and I appreciate this correction because it doesn't make I figured he was like Evel Knievel, but Fonzie jumped the shark on a water ski.
He did.
Not a motorcycle. I thought it was like Evel Knievel, like an over the.
Oh, nope.
But it was on a jet ski.
It was on.
Thank you for the correction.
Was it a jet ski? I thought he was water skiing. It was water skiing.
He was water skiing and being pulled by a boat.
Yeah.
And then he went over
and
like
he
a ramp.
The shark on the ramp.
Right there. Then that show was just.
It was Happy Days.
I know, but that's why that's why the statement is called jumping the shark, because that's when like you're done. You're done.
For those of you,
everyone's like, it's done.
Hold on. For those
can't
of you,
watch it anymore after they did this.
That would like a more recent jump the shark Henry Winkler reference.
Yeah.
Go to the Arrested Development episode where Henry Winkler actually does jump a shark on a dock. He does that. Arrested Development. There you go.
Oh, okay. Oh! I think we're gonna watch.
You can't share that though.
Oh, I can't share
Copyright issues.
All right, yeah, we'll get the show taken out. But if you just YouTube Fonzie jumps the shark, and we're gonna he is on jet skis. So
he's on a water ski getting pulled by Ron Howard.
And there's the shark. We're watching it.
Ron Howard's looking all scared.
And there's the Fonz. And then he's about to go over the ramp. Oh, and the shark's there. You see his fin up in the air, the shark fin. And then here we go. Oh, and they're coming down I guess this is like the lake.
No, they're at Huntington Beach, man.
Oh, they're in the ocean? It looks like a lake.
No, they're in the ocean. You really didn't watch the show.
No, I did. I saw this when I was like a teenager. Like
a teenager. This is 1977. You weren't even born.
I understand that, but when I finally saw it, I'm just telling you. Okay, and then here he goes.
Look, everybody
goes off the ramp. Oh, and there he goes. He does the big jump.
And he's like spread eagle.
There he goes, and he does like a whole spread eagle thing, and then splash right over. Everybody's losing their mind. He jumped the shark, and that's when Happy Days just that was a bad moment in Happy Days history.
But you should look up the Arrested Development
Uncle
episode.
Pete in his leather jacket. He
had
shorts and his leather jacket.
He's in like a Speedo. That's why, guys.
Speedo.
That's why we talk about how ridiculous this is. Let's talk about this for a second. How ridiculous, and why do we talk about this? Why is this even a thing?
Yeah.
Because if you actually look it up, here's the problem. It's the Fonz, right?
Right.
It is the legendary Fonzie from Happy Days. He's in a freaking Speedo with his junk hanging out.
Yes.
He's being pulled behind a boat on water skis, but he's wearing his leather jacket. And the shark, by the way, who's in open ocean, is just swimming around in just circular buoys. It's not in a cage. It's just in a circular buoy. This is the dumbest thing that was ever done on TV. And everybody was like,
yeah, he has like Richie Cunningham driving the boat, pulling the Fonz.
And so again, okay. So your score? What was your
All
final
right.
score?
Sorry,
Good God.
we're jumping the shark here.
We jumped the goddamn shark.
So nose, taste, value. Value gets a 3. So I'm not going to give it a blown away bonus.
3-2-2.
But you're giving it a 3-3-2.
Excuse me, a 3-3-2.
Which gives me an 8. I am not giving it a blown away bonus
Yeah.
where I do enjoy this. You guys know me. I have to reserve my blown away bonus. So I am very, very much close in line to your score and giving it a very solid, respectable 80.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
It's up there. It's up there. I like this. I enjoy it. The price is right. The flavor is right. If you guys can find it, please go try it. It's pretty much out there. You just got to look for it. If you have Smoke Wagon at your local liquor store,
do it.
Go grab it. I think it's worth the buy at $80. That's kind of where I would take
even
a gamble.
Small batch.
Yeah, get a small batch.
Even a small batch.
Or private barrel, not the private barrel.
Uncut unfiltered.
The uncut unfiltered. That's it. So that has the black bottle with the gold label.
Yeah.
And then it has the sticker on the back that gives you the batch number. I don't think you can go wrong with any of those.
No. So that's the booze review.
That's booze review today.
We got some booze news
and we're gonna do a quick news update. Because this is huge news, and this was just released 2 days ago.
The big news. For you collectors out there.
Yes. So for those that don't know, and what we'll do is we're going to share our friends over at breakingbourbon.com. We're going to share their release for this, or their news here. Give me a moment. Their news update. And we'll get this shared out. Just a second. And so these guys,
give them a follow for catching up on news.
Yeah. So Buffalo Trace Distillery releases the highly anticipated Buffalo Trace Antique Collection,
which comes out. It always comes out in this time of the year.
2023.
It's the allocation, and these are the ridiculous bottles. These are the bottles that are going to be like, what do you, $1,000?
Yeah, so this is where we're going to see this holiday season the yearly release of the George T. Stagg, the Thomas H. Handy Sazerac Rye, the Sazerac Rye 18-year, the William LaRue Weller, and the oldest Eagle Rare 17-year.
I can't believe it.
In the collection's history.
Oldest Eagle Rare. It's a 17-year Eagle Rare.
No, here's the thing. So where it's still Eagle Rare 17, it is a 19-year, 3-month-old juice that is going into the bottle. It's 101 proof. I don't know how I feel about that. However, the 2022 Eagle Rare 17 release won Taste Master for the 2023 American Whiskey Masters, making it an overall winner of the competition. It says 17 years indicates the minimum age for Eagle Rare 17 barrels to be bottled. With taste as a priority for the distilling and lab experts at Buffalo Trace, the age of the actual barrels in the whiskey varies yearly to meet ideal flavor profiles. The George Stagg is coming in at 135 proof, so that's a hot boy. It's a 15-year, 4-month-old George T. Stagg, aged in warehouses C, I, K, and L. Last year, it won first place, Best American Whiskey in the 2023 International Whiskey Competition. The Saz Rye. No one likes the Saz Rye 18.
Nobody ever. It always has a bad rap, but
it has a bad rap.
I'm excited for it. I actually would like to try it this year.
It flaunts a scent of dried oranges, rye grain, clove, and aniseed, and a palette of black pepper, vanilla, and oak, honey, and tobacco leaf.
Sounds delightful.
I don't know.
Honestly, that sounds great.
The previous release earned a gold medal in the 2023 American Whiskey Masters Award. The Thomas H. Handy is coming in at 124.9 proof. I've always been a fan.
The last one was terrible. Last year's was not good.
Yeah, so it says this year you're getting flavor profiles, an aroma of orange zest and lemon oil, caramel, hints of pine, the palate, freshly baked rye, orange marmalade, and honey. I like that. Light oak and black licorice. Ooh, I know that's kind of polarizing.
That is polarizing.
And then judges at the Spirit Business 2023 American Whiskey Masters Award won a master medal. The William LaRue Weller,
highly anticipated,
registers at 133.6 proof, surpassing the last year's 124.7 offering. William LaRue Weller is always fantastic. Candied notes of dark brown sugar and vanilla bean, warm full palate of stewed cherries, brown sugar crumble, and a dense finish with baking spice and maple syrup. Woo! Last year it won a 2023 Master Medal during the same American Whiskey Masters competition. And that's that, guys. So these are bottles you will never see and never have a chance
Well,
to
you'll
buy.
see them.
So
You'll see them on the shelf,
joking.
on the top shelf, and you're gonna go, "Ooh, you have those? How much for a pour?" And they're gonna
1,000,
go,
200 a pour.
that's gonna be $600 for an ounce."
Anyways, most respectable liquor stores around the country raffle these off during the holiday time. So keep an eye out at your local store.
Our friends at Corey's will
Our
be doing
friends
that.
at Corey's does a wonderful toy donation raffle
Yeah.
where you get a ticket for a certain amount of toys that you bring into the store. Then they all donate that to a wonderful cause here locally in Las Vegas. So shout out to our friends in Isa at Corey's.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Hopefully shops around the country take notice and do the same thing.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're just going to be some clowns that the bottles will sell for $1,000 a piece and sit on their top shelf, and they'll never sell them. So,
Well, and then resellers will come back around and be like, "Whoa, I'll sell it to you for $2,000."
right. So, BTAC, you'll see it out this year. That's some quick info on it. Smoke Wagon, we got an 80 and an 81. Shout out to Aaron out there at Smoke Wagon. I'm enjoying this thoroughly as a nice fall pour and entry into fall and opening the door into the fall time season. This is a great segue into it.
It's been a lovely, lovely fall
There you
time
go.
here in Las Vegas. So, well, listen, it's good to be back in the saddle. I missed you guys.
We've missed you as well. Welcome
And,
back. Settled back in.
Can't wait to come back and do it again next week. Do you have anything you'd like to see? Anything you'd like us to review?
Leave
Let
a
us
comment,
know.
hit us up, follow up. Don't forget. So we've been doing a pretty good job lately on Instagram at the Barrel Buds of doing some shorts and some posts. So follow us over there if you don't already, just to get information about what we're doing on the side when we're going to bars and going on excursions. That all translates over to Facebook. Like us on Facebook. We have the Barrel Buddies page over there. You'll find our logo. Just follow it and like it.
And
Doesn't cost you anything.
call to action.
What's the call to action today?
Call to action today is if you are so inclined, please don't forget to like,
the typical
subscribe,
spiel. Yes.
to our channel. We really appreciate that. That does help us out.
It
and
does.
It costs you nothing, and that allows us to continue to bring you high quality, low quality, high
Low
antics,
quality high antics.
bourbon reviews every week.
Low quality high antics.
That's it.
That's a great motto shirt. A motto. Well, the Barrel Buddies, and then in quotes,
high antics.
Low quality high antics. For the Barrel Buddies, I'm James.
And I'm BJ. We'll see you next week.